What's up, everybody? What's up? What's up? What's up? It's your girl, Kelly Charles Collins, and I want to talk to y'all today about rejection. So, this is for my speakers, and I want to talk to you about being rejected when you apply to speak on somebody's stage, when you send a contract or you have a sales conversation, particularly like in corporate, and you get that dreaded no. Right. I want to talk to you about that today because this is something that has come up for one of my clients, and it came up for me a lot at the beginning, right when I was starting on my speaking journey, and it still happens today. And I want to talk to you about that because I know that a lot of people, a lot of speakers, when you get rejected or when somebody says no to you, that you know makes you feel bad, makes you start to question your worth and all of that stuff. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. And I am going to help you understand why that might be happening and some of the things that you can do to overcome that. So, I need you to engage with me. I would love for you to engage with me. If you have any questions, type them in the chat and I can see them. If you're on Facebook, StreamYard won't show me your name unless you give them permission. So I'll just see like Facebook user. But even if you don't put your name, comment. If you have a comment or if you have a question, make sure that you drop that in the chat. If you know somebody who should be watching this, please share this video with them. I am everywhere. I'm on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, all live right now. So wherever people are, yeah, tell them to come join in, and I hope that you hang out here with me too as I talk about this topic around speakers being rejected, because I want you to know that rejection is part of the process. So for those of you who this is your first encounter with me, I am Kelly Charles Collins. I am affectionately known as the Speaker Mogul. So I have two businesses. One is I am a professional speaker. And so in my speaking business, companies hire me to empower their leaders and their employees to disrupt unconscious bias and to cultivate conversational culture. So I train them on how to engage effectively in courageous conversations, and obviously around unconscious bias, raising their awareness around unconscious bias, but more importantly, make having people understand the impact of those biases and then giving them steps to help them disrupt those biases. And then with conversational cultures, what I do is to help organizations understand why it's important to have these difficult conversations, though we don't want to, and how to effectively engage in those, because communication is both a skill and an art. And so I have my perfect framework that I teach to help people really engage in those conversations. And while the focus is on organizations and their employees, the framework works anywhere, right? You can use that framework to have these types of conversations anywhere. So if you're looking in the background, you're like, where's Kelly? Because that's not her background. I'm in a hotel. So the other part of my business is Speaker Moguls. So I'm the CEO of Speaker Moguls. And in Speaker Moguls, our mission is to create highly paid, sought after speakers. And the way that we do that is one signature talk at a time. What we know is that if you want to get on stages, if you want people to really pay you, then you have to have the right message. And so we help experts in their fields to find their message so that they can craft a unique, authentic, customized signature talk that gets them known, booked, and paid, right? So that's what we do over here in Speaker Moguls. And I started Speaker Moguls. I want to tell you, like, I started Speaker Moguls last year. And the reason that I started it is having been in this business full time since 2020 as a full time entrepreneur. What I realized, and even in the pandemic, but what I realized is that there are often times that women are being asked to speak for free or for exposure, definitely more than men, and definitely Black women are being asked to do that at a higher rate than others, or we are, excluded from stages. And part of that, the reason that that's happening is one, because it's just systemic, right? But the other part is that a lot of us are not prepared. We're not prepared to be on those stages. We're not prepared to get paid at the rates that we want to get paid. to be on those stages. And so when I started Speaker Moguls, the mission of Speaker Moguls is and will always be to ensure that you understand both the business and branding of speaking. But one of the other things that we realized as we, have been developing in this business is that you all need, like, speakers need the thing, right? What is the thing? Sorry, what is the thing that you need to get on stages? You need to talk. And I realize that what's happening out here is that a lot of people are telling you, just tell your story. Oh, come, I'll teach you how to tell your story. It's your story. It's your story. It's your testimony. Your testimony and your story is not going to get you paid. I don't care what nobody tells you, right? That is not the thing that people are purchasing. What people are purchasing and exchanging value for is a message, right? And your story becomes part of your message. Your story helps to amplify, clarify, highlight the message. However, it's not just the story. And as I started to see that, I was like, no, we can't continue to do this, because my sisters, especially, hey, thank you for my birthday. Yes, I'm here to share with you on my birthday. Um, my sisters, especially, um, it's a disservice, right? And so what I feel is that when people don't pay you, when you're an expert, because many of you are experts either by profession or experience, when people don't pay you, especially women, I believe it's a way to erase our value. And that pisses me off, right? And because it pisses me off, I decided that I could say something about it or I could do something about it. So I decided to do something about it. And that's why we started focusing on helping and working with men to craft their signature talks, right? And so we say one signature talk at a time, because that's exactly what you need to do to be on stages. You are a speaker. That is your product. You have to develop a product, and you want to develop a product that has value. So, hey, John Register, you're right. Your story will not get you paid. How did John see, how does your story, John says, how does your story create value to your audience? It doesn't, right? Nobody wants to hear about you for 45 minutes, 60 minutes. That's why when you go to master classes and events that teach you about telling your story, they teach you to tell your story in 2 to 3 minutes. If you're only telling 2 to 3 minutes of your story, what happens to the rest of the time you're supposed to be on that stage? And now listen, I am not saying anything bad about anybody in terms of teaching you how to tell your story, because you need to learn how to tell your story, right? You need to learn how to speak, and you need to learn how to incorporate those stories. But I don't want you to be hoodwinked and bamboozled into believing that just telling your story is how you get on stage. So I said I was going to be talking to you all about, reasons that you're being rejected. And that's one of them, right? That's one of the reasons that you might be getting rejected. So if you are, there's many different ways to get on stages, right? You could be referred by someone to get on a stage. You could pitch, and the stage could be a virtual stage. It could be an in-person stage. You could pitch to be on a stage, right? So you could send someone an email. You could submit an application to be on a stage, right? So there are many ways that you can get on stages. However, if you have been submitting applications, if you have gotten on phone calls with people, if you have pitched people and you're telling them, I want to share my story, I want to share my testimony, and you're getting rejected, it's because nobody cares about your story. Right? And I know some of y'all be mad at me about that, but that's okay. I'm going to keep saying it until you get it, that nobody cares about your story. What they care about is, what do you have to exchange that's of value to their audience, that's somehow going to transform them or shift their perspective in some way. That's what people are paying for. They're paying for an exchange of value, right? So if all you have is, I got fired from my job, I was in a bad relationship, you want to talk about how you overcame whatever you overcame, they're not going to pay you for that. It's not because it's not valuable. It's because it's not valuable to them. right? And the thing about telling stories and the thing about your story and a message is that you have to be able to take people on a journey, right? So if all you're doing is telling your story and you're telling it from your perspective, one of the things that speakers make a big mistake in is thinking that when you get on stage, it's about you because you're on the stage, right? Because somebody has you on the stage. So you think, oh, this is my stage. No, your responsibility is the audience, right? Your responsibility is to the people who have given their time, the one resource they can never, ever, ever, ever get back. Your responsibility is to them. So if you're having a conversation with somebody about being on their virtual stage or being on their physical in-person stage, and you cannot communicate to them anything other than you're going to tell your story, they're not going to put you on stage. You will continue to get rejected. Because when we tell our story from that point of view, right? When we're telling you, I want to tell you what I've been through. I want to tell you what I did. I want to tell you how I overcame. What's going to happen is people are going to listen to the story, right? We all have listened to people's stories. We're going to listen to those stories, but we are not going to see ourselves in that story. We're not going to see how that helps us. You know, that people always say, what's in it for me? Right? We're not going to be able to place ourselves inside of that story. And if we can't place ourselves inside of that story, it just becomes a good story. Thank you. Thank you for sharing it. You probably, some people probably thinking, I sat here for all this time and I got nothing out of it. Right. So you have to be very, very mindful of that. John's all in. Let me see. John says, yes. And there are different types of ways speakers get on stage. Celebrity gets you on stage. Celebrity in your market gets you on stage. Yep. All that stuff. Yep. So those some of the things I'm going to be talking about too. So story, right? So not understanding story versus message and getting you on stage. And it's not just a message, it's a signature message. It's the thing that you are known for, right? The thing that comes from within. So when I work with my speakers, my clients, the first thing that we talk about is uncovering their why. When you uncover your why, when you understand the real reason, right, the real deep seated truth behind why you want to speak about what you want to speak about, then there is nobody who can copy your talk, no matter if they're in the same genre as you, right? They can't, nobody will be able to copy it. And when you start to think of your topic and think about your message from your why, then you'll be able to communicate the value of that message. You'll also be able to get people to understand why they should care enough to pay you, right? So there's two whys. Why do you care about it? And why should they care enough to want to pay you for it? So it's not your story. It's not just any message. It's actually a signature message, right? Your signature talk is the thing that's going to get you known. So we talk about people getting known, getting booked, getting paid, right? So if you want to get known, you get known for a topic. So I give you an example. When I started speaking, so I've been speaking for 20 something years, right? Because I'm a lawyer. I'm a retired trial attorney. So I didn't tell you all that too. I'm a retired trial attorney. I was a law firm partner. I've been a university professor. I taught at University of Phoenix, University of Miami, St. Thomas University School of Law. Where else did I teach? I've taught all over the place, right? I'm also an arbitrator, a mediator. So I have been speaking for many, many years, right? Just in 2020, I decided I would do it full time as an entrepreneur and not just as part of my role as being a lawyer. Well, when I made that transition, I knew a lot of things. I still know a lot of things, right? And I didn't know exactly what it is I wanted to speak about. So I was like, well, I've been an employment lawyer. I could talk about all kinds of things: sexual harassment, retaliation, discrimination. What you want? What you want me to talk about? I could talk about anything. And what I realized after hiring coaches, what I realized was I couldn't do that. Like, I could not be all over the place. I had to have a signature message, right? I had to have a signature message. I had to have something that I became known for. And so we looked at, my background. We looked at what I had, accomplished in the like in the short time right before speaking, and I had written a book and I had done a TEDx. And so we started to look at those things so that we can dial in to what my real expertise was. And so we took that expertise and put me out there, right? And it was like, put me out there as an unconscious bias expert because I do truly have that expertise. I became known for that thing. And so when the pandemic happened and the stages were gone, but George Floyd was murdered, and businesses were like, help, we need help, listing sessions, we need unconscious bias training, we need all this kinds of stuff. When all of that was happening, then immediately, like, I was one of the people that was top of mind because I had established myself, right, as this is my signature message around disrupting unconscious bias. So people were calling, right? So it's important to have that signature talk so that you can become known for something. It doesn't mean that you can't talk about other things. It just means that this is the thing that's going to get you in the door, right? And as you're talking to your clients, if you have additional expertise, you could talk to them. Those are things that you could talk to them about. So if you're getting rejected and you keep getting rejected, one of the reasons that that's happening is because you don't have a signature talk. You're relying on your story as opposed to an actually well-crafted signature talk. Second is that you lack visibility. Nobody knows who you are. Nobody sees you. They don't know where you are. One of the things that I did a challenge once, and what I did was I had my assistant go research everybody who was on the challenge. I said, go research them, go Google them, because Google is my BFF. So I said, go Google them and see what you can find out about them. See what comes up when you Google their name. See what comes up, not just on the first tab, right, which is where everybody looks, but go see what's on images, go see what's in the videos tab, so that we can see how they're showing up or not showing up, right? Because what we know is that when you start to pitch, when you start to submit applications, they're going to ask you, like, for your social media presence, all that stuff. They're going to go look. Right? They're going to go check you out on social media. They're going to Google you, right? And what we found is that many of them had nothing. There was nothing. They were saying that they're a speaker, but when you Google them, some of them you couldn't find them because they're using some other random kind of name, like a cute name, as opposed to their real name. So that's one thing. So they can't find you. And others, there was nothing, or there was like old Facebook videos of them talking about random stuff that had nothing to do with them as being a professional speaker. And one speaker in particular, what we found is that on hers, I came up. When we Googled her and we looked on the videos tab, I came up. Everything about my brand came up because she had interviewed me on her podcast. What that told them is that I was more visible. My brand was more visible. My brand was at a higher level than hers, so much so that Googling her brought me up, right? So it's really important for you to understand what is visible in the world about you, whether it's on your social media. And I know, like, we'd like to come on social media and put all the things and, talk about random stuff. But if you're a speaker, people are going to want to see you speak. And no, not everybody has been on big stages, and you don't have to have been on big stages, but they have to see you. So if you lack visibility, if you lack exposure, if they go to Google you, they go on, on IG, they go on Facebook, they go on Twitter, they go wherever, and they cannot find you, they're going to reject you, right? They're not going to, they may have had a conversation with you, but once they go do all that due diligence, they're not going to put you on their stage, because for them, right, this is about providing an experience. And what it says to them is that you're not prepared, or maybe you're not skilled enough, or right, because you don't even have anything out there about you. Now, we all have to start somewhere. So I'm not saying that you have to have a ton of stuff, but if you're showing up on, Facebook Lives or Instagram Lives, do something that's related to you talking about the topics that you're trying to get people to pay you for. Don't just show up online and just talk about random things, right? You have to have that visibility and exposure in order for them to say, yep, I'm going to put her or him or they on my stage, right? I'm going to put them on my stage, right? They have to see you somewhere. And so I want you to go Google yourself. Google yourself and look at what comes up. Because some of the things that come up, you probably be like, Lord, I wish that wasn't up there anymore. Right? But it's there. But I want you to Google yourself. I want you to look at all the tabs related to your name. And I want you to come back to this comment section. So wherever you're watching it, so Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, I want you to come back and let me know what you found. Let me know if what you see, if you were somebody hiring people to put on stages, virtual or in person, if you would hire you, right? If you saw something there that would make you say, yep, I want to jump in. I want to jump in and hire that person, right? So one, you don't have a signature talk. Two, you lack the visibility or exposure necessary for them to want to put you on their stage. Three, you also may not be a content fit or an audience fit, right? So you may have a signature talk, you may be visible, but sometimes your content is just not a good fit for their conference, for their internal meeting, whatever it is. And so what you need to do is you have to research, right? So oftentimes we want to be on certain stages because we see them and we're like, oh, I would love to be on that stage. Oh, I want to speak for this company. Oh, I want to be at that conference, right? Because we see it and it looks like, oh, this is a place to be. However, your content might not be suitable for those audiences, right? And you may not be suitable. And yes, sometimes we're just not suitable, right? As an individual, you might not be suitable for that audience. So you have to be mindful of that, right? You may have a message that you think would be good for the audience, but the way that you deliver the message, or maybe some maybe thoughts that you have, maybe belief systems that you have, things that you would speak about would not be a good fit for the audience, and you need to know that. And sometimes we have those things and we're able to tweak our message so that we can, right, customize it to audiences. But sometimes we don't want to. And that's okay too. You just have to know that, right? You just have to know that. I was at a conference um, and this woman didn't know her audience, right? And she just kept saying things that were clearly a bad fit for the audience, right? But this was in her brain, and she clearly had not. And apparently, the organizers didn't realize that this is something that she was gonna do, and they. So she got up there and she was just saying stuff, and she kept saying it, and the audience was clearly not not happy with her saying these things. But sometimes you're just not a good audience fit, and sometimes you're not a good content fit, right? And what I want you to understand is that all of these things, when you're being rejected, it's not about you. Like, it's not you personally. So don't take it personally. It is just part of the process. We've all been rejected. Shoot, I just got rejected the other day. I submitted something and I got rejected, right? And my client, she was telling me, that she submitted something. And I had to tell her, look, it's part of the process. Everybody who's out here speaking, not everybody that you see on the stage, nobody is getting accepted 100% of the time. And don't let them tell you that, because they're not. If they say that they are, that is absolutely not true. It doesn't matter at what level you are. At some point, you're going to get rejected, and rejection is really just part of the process, right? So you're going to get a lot of no's, but what you don't want to do is let those no's deter you. You don't want to let those no's cause you to, retreat and be like, oh my gosh, it must be me. It must be about me. I must be horrible. No, there's just something wrong, right, in the process, right? So we started with, it could be that you don't have a signature talk. It could be that you lack the visibility or exposure. It could be that you're not a good content fit. Sorry. It could be that you're not a good content or audience fit. The other thing too is that you might have what you have out there in terms of like your marketing um, is inadequate, right? Or it just doesn't match. Um, a lot of what you need to focus on in terms of speaking, it's, I say this, the business of speaking and the branding, right, as a speaker. And your branding has to be consistent. Your branding has to be in alignment. I've had clients call me and say, listen, I just wanted to get on a call with you now because I wanted to make sure that what I saw out there aligned with the person that I'm going to be speaking to, the person that we may hire to be on our stage. And so, what you put out in terms of your website, in terms of whatever page it is that you're sending people to, or that people can have access to, that they would be looking at, or whatever type of material they would be looking at to determine whether or not you're a speaker that they want to have on their stage, it needs to be in good order, right? It needs to, you need to show up in the manner in which you expect people to pay you. So if you're like, well, they should be paying me 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, even $2,000. Well, then whatever you have out there in the world better look like that, right? It's not you like sitting, and when they ask you for a headshot, it's not you sitting in your car with the seatbelt on. I remember I did a summit and I asked for headshots and I got pictures like that, right? That's not professional. As a speaker, that's not professional. You could take one with your cell phone. Obviously, the best thing to do is, get a professional headshot. I think Shoot still does Shoot, SHOOTT. And no, I don't have anything to do with them, but you can go take pictures with them for free and then buy the pictures that you want. So if you don't have a lot of money, but you need to make sure that your marketing materials look like somebody should be paying you, right? And they need to be in alignment with who they then have a conversation with, because some of the time that's the problem. Why you get rejected is because they saw something, you pitched something, and they were like, great. And then they had a conversation with you and they were like, well, who is this? Because this isn't the person that sent me this information, right? So those are some of the reasons that you might be getting rejected. Um, those are some of the reasons you might be getting rejected from getting on these virtual stages, from getting on these physical stages, right? And so, if you want to know more about that, like if you're saying, Kelly, yes, I am listening to you and I'm in the amen corner. Yes, I am being rejected. You're welcome, Evelyn. Let me know if you have any questions. If you're in the amen corner and you're like, yes, this has been happening to me. I've been submitting applications and I'm getting rejected. I've been having these conversations with people and the conversation seems to go so well. And all of a sudden I get a no, thank you. We decided to go with somebody else, or they don't even respond to you. If that's you, I want you to raise your hand. If that's you, I want you to raise your hand and I want you to put accepted. Either DM me the word accepted or put it in the comments, and I want to have a conversation with you. I want to help you to see where it is you may be lacking in the process, right? Because rejection is part of the process. This is a whole process. I want to help you see where it is that you may be off. And if it's around your signature talk, then I want to really talk to you about that, right? Because the signature talk is the thing that you need to have as a speaker to get going. And so this is why we created what we call the signature talk experience. And the signature talk experience, the thing is, what I said at the beginning, is to help you to find your message. I always say this, no message, no money. If you have no message, no one's going to pay you. So in our signature talk experience, we've developed the whole experience to help you to gain the clarity, the courage, and the confidence to be able to go out on these stages, to pitch for these stages, and that when you get rejected, because it's going to happen, that you understand that that's just a bump in the road, right? You're going to keep going. But if you don't have the proper things in place, if you don't have the proper foundations and structures in place, when those things happen to you, when you start to get rejected, it is going to throw you off, right? And you might end up at just like throwing in the towel when you have a perfectly good and great message to get out there, but you just have not had anyone who would take the time to listen to you, to uncover the real why behind why you want to deliver this message, and then to help you to co-create your authentic talk with you using our signature talk black print. So we have a proprietary framework that we have created that no one else, nobody, I don't care who, nobody else is teaching you this black print because it's ours, right? We created it. And the way that we created it is based on something else that we created in talking about speaking and really understanding the distinction between your roles as CEO and talent. So the black print is developed on that premise that as a speaker, you at least have those two roles, and that you have to understand which role you're operating in at what time, and the talk has to be built, right? And this is not, nobody's teaching you this, right? When they teach you your story, they're not teaching you this. Your talk has to be built so that both CEO and talent, whichever role you're playing at the time, is able to communicate the value of that talk, right? And so we build in all of the pieces so that any application that you're completing, any sales conversation that you're having, you have the answers. And we help you to put that inside of what we call our CEO playbook. So when you come to the Signature Talk experience, you get a CEO playbook so that once you finish crafting your talk, which we do in a matter of 2 days, um, in Orlando in person. So we're there with you, like working with you one by one, right, to help you craft your talk. You'll take all of that information, put it in your CEO playbook so that when you have to submit these applications, when you have to create content like I'm doing today, right, so that when people see and people look you up, you don't lack visibility, you don't lack credibility. When you have to do all of those things, your CEO playbook will be right there for you, right, to be able to help you to do that, to just really get through those sales conversations, to be able to answer the questions that are being asked that some people don't even think about, to answer the questions that are on those applications in a way that's consistent, right? Because what happens is when you don't know what your message is, when you don't know how to answer those questions, when you don't know what they're asking for, when you open that application, you're just going to be putting anything, right? Whatever comes to your mind at that moment, especially if the application is due today, you're just going to put whatever it is that you want to put. But we have really looked at, what is this business? What does it take? What is it that you need to really succeed, not just on the stage, but off the stage so that you can get on the stage, right? So there's the get known, there's the get booked, and there's the get paid. You have roles in each of those, but your roles are different. And so when you develop the talk the way that we do with our signature talk black print, you will develop it with all of those things in mind. So you'll never get caught slipping, right? You will never get caught slipping. And then what we also do is after we create your talk, after we help you craft your talk in those couple of days, then we mentor you so the whole program is 90 days. We mentor you so that we help you to really put all of the finishing touches on your talk, to develop your presentation. So how am I going to present this? I'm going to do a PowerPoint. Am I just going to do it off the top of my head, which you would be able to, because the way we help you build it, you can do that, right? You don't even need a PowerPoint. And what do you need to be able to do that effectively? And then also we work with you to present it so that we can help you understand, what am I hearing that's missing? What do you maybe need to change? And you are in a cohort with people, so they also help to give you feedback. And then going back to what we were talking about getting rejected because you lack visibility and exposure, we help you with content creation, right? Start thinking about what it is that I need to put out there, because content creation and people seeing you will get people interested in you and people looking at you as somebody who is not just talking about things that you read in a book somewhere or that you Googled. This is the reason we start with your why, because when you start with your why, the things that you say can't be Googled, right? The things that you say, nobody else is going to be saying them because they come from your own experience, right? It comes from the depths of your soul. And so we help you to develop, what are the types of things that you need to do in order to increase that visibility, right? So that that's not one of the reasons that you're going to be rejected. It may be for other reasons, and like I said, we all still get rejected. So it's not that anything is going to make it go away. It's just giving yourself a better chance of doing that, right? And so that's why that's what we do inside of the Signature Talk experience. And our clients who've come through this are just like, I now have the confidence to go get my money. And this what they really talk about is the framework, right? The Signature Talk Black Print, and how much of a structure that has given them. And that structure that you learn, that framework that you learn, you'll be able to leverage it to do a lot of things, to write a book, create a course, coaching program. Once you create that talk, you can then leverage that so you can monetize that message in more than one way, which is really important to me, because not everybody wants to just speak on stage to get paid. Some people want to um so I mean, don't not everybody just wants to get paid to speak. Some people want to speak to get paid, meaning that they want to get on stages so that they can generate leads for their business. And so this framework also helps you, whether you're a get paid to speak or speak to get paid or both. It also is whether or not you are a new expert or you've been speaking for years. One of our clients, Tanya, she just did the Signature Talk experience. She's been speaking for over 10 years, and she's spoken nationally and internationally, and she can't stop. She just called me again. She can't stop talking about the framework and how important that framework is, right? How important the Signature Talk Black Print is to her, to be able to really, really dial in and hone in on her craft as a speaker, and not just be on stage just talking about anything. She's an expert, right? But not having um a true what we call the ITS framework, where we help you to build your talk so that it creates intrigue, transforms your audience, and shifts their perspectives. And so there's a real intentionality and strategy with the Signature Talk Black Print that you're not going to get anywhere else. I promise you that you will not get it anywhere else. I don't care what nobody tells you, right? And I will stand on that. So if you have been getting rejected, or if you are not getting paid to speak, or you're getting underpaid, or maybe you're undercharging, right? Because sometimes it's that you're undercharging. Yes, definitely DM me, Evelyn. Definitely DM me. If do exactly what Evelyn just said. She said, I'm going to DM you, right? I'm going to show. Evelyn says that she is interested. I'm interested in learning more about the Signature Talk. We'll DM you. Do exactly what Evelyn's doing. You can comment and say Signature Talk or accepted, whichever one, I'll get it. Or you can DM me so that I can chat with you, because it is that Signature Talk. Once you get that, and my clients, I don't know if any of them are on right now, but you can go on their pages, or you'll see them comment on my pages too. Once you get that, the clarity, the courage, the confidence that you get is unmatched, right? Because now you know that you have something of value to exchange, right? And so now you can stand powerfully in those conversations, and you understand when it is that you're showing up as CEO and when it is that you're showing up as talent. And that distinction is so vitally important to your success. So, just like Evelyn, DM me, drop accepted, throw up a smoke signal, whatever it is that you need to do to get to me, so that we can talk about how I can support you and help you to get from being rejected, right, all the time, to being rejected like the rest of us some of the time, right? Because it's always going to happen. But to understand that the rejection is not about you personally, and to also understand that in those moments when you do get rejected, that you know that you have positioned yourself powerfully, and therefore it may just be a content fit or something else, right? It may be that for them, your fee is out of budget, but what you will know, that is not because what you're exchanging with them or what you have offered to exchange with them lacks value in any way. So I hope this has been helpful for y'all. I'm going to do a better job of showing up live more to talk about some of these things because I know that they're really important. And some of it is around, just helping you to shift your mindset. Some of it is around real tactical things. But a lot of it is mindset and mentality around understanding what it takes to be a speaker and what it takes to be positioned powerfully. You'll hear me talk about this all the time about being positioned powerfully. I always talk about you wanting to be positioned in the penthouse of your clients' minds. And that takes a lot of work, right? It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of dedication. And it takes somebody like me who really cares, not just about, making sure that y'all are getting paid, but making sure that you are prepared and that you have the things that you need in order to be prepared. Right. And so you get that hands on. So in the 90 days, you get that hands on with me. So we have biweekly meetings where I'm there live. I answer your questions. I walk you through whatever is happening with your talks. We make sure you'll see a picture on if you go on my Facebook from last night, you'll see my clients. So we were doing that last night in our mastermind. And I'm always watching and I'm always looking out for you to see what's there. And when you're with me for the 3 days in Orlando, we're there hands on, like we're not letting you go. No, you don't get to just be like, I don't know. I don't know. No, when you're done, you'll have your talk done. That's the whole point of us being together with you in person because we get to hear you, we get to feel you, we get to see you, we get to observe what's happening with you. And sometimes oops, sorry, that's my alarm. Sometimes it turns into a whole coach like therapy session. I'm not a therapist, so I'm not saying it like that, but sometimes we end up talking about things and really when we're getting to people's why, we really get deep into their why, and it frees you. And once you get freed and you really understand what you want to talk about, because some of y'all talking about things that's not the thing that you really need to be talking about. Once you get free and once you understand your why, that's a total game changer. So again, y'all, I'm gonna go eat. Listen, look what I got today. So today is my birthday. So I got my bundt cake. If y'all know, I love bundt cakes. So I got my lemon bundt cake. So I'm gonna enjoy this because I'm away from my family for my birthday. But and so let me tell you, let me just throw this in there while I say that. So the reason that I'm away from my family is because I decided to fly to Dallas to come to a conference. One of the reasons that I did that is because one of the things I would need to do also is to increase my visibility, right? I do a lot of training for corporations. And so I'm not on stages a lot, right? I'm on virtual stages or I'm inside of a corporation where you're not going to see a lot of pictures. So one of the things that I have committed to is being more visible. So that's why I'm here. So that's why I chose to travel on my birthday to go to a conference tomorrow and come back. So whatever I'm telling you, whatever things that I talk to you about, they're things that I've done or I'm doing. And so, you can take that. It's not just, I'm just filling y'all with hot air. Anyway, that's it. DM me accepted or DM me signature talk or comment. I will come into the comments. I'm going to go check all my social media, see who's been here commenting. If you're team replay, same thing, do it all. I cannot wait to support you all. Let's go get your signature talks done so that we can get you all, get you known, get you booked, and get you paid. Have a great evening, y'all. Take care. Bye. If it lets me end it. So I'm still on here. So if you want to comment while I can't get off, I think it's gonna end now. Okay. Okay, who's the Facebook user that said accepted? I'll go find it. I will go find it and I'll message you because on here it just says Facebook user. But I'll go find it and I'll message you right now. And Evelyn, I think that I heard the ding from LinkedIn. So I think you may have messaged me. So I will message you too. All right, y'all. Take care.